So today is August 8th, and we have a lot of changes happening in and around the market. We're going to talk about how those might affect the market, but as of now, we don't have a lot of those changes plotted out in a graph yet because it's happening at this moment. So let's get right into it. One of the first ones that's affecting things is current market shifts. Interest rates are down, right? So we just had some economic information come out, some reports come out, and the markets reacted pretty significantly. You can see that interest rate line. We've been growing, since January, and that's sort of led to our lower volume of sales throughout the spring and summer. But we've actually been declining over the last few months, and now we just slammed down below 6.5. Now that was momentary. You can see that it bounced, and we don't really know exactly how it's going to go, but it's likely to continue to go in that similar direction. So when something like this happens, all of a sudden, you might have buyers that have been thinking about buying something and they say, okay, well, let's do it right now. Bam. And they're getting under contract at a great interest rate. So that could surge contract volume. The other one that we're going to see is MLS requirements. So we've got National Association of Realtors. So if you're a true realtor and you belong to that organization, you've got rules. They just had a settlement. They're going to require agreements in order to show a property at all. You better have that in writing before you even take somebody into that across that threshold. Another one of those is going to be you're advertising the broker commissions in MLS. It's prohibited now, right? So you can't put this. So you see prior to 8/1, we used to see 2.5. That's what was going to go to the buyer's broker, right? So if I'm bringing my buyer client into a house, they love it, and they want to negotiate and put it an offer. They've already described what what the seller was willing to pay me, or pay their broker, and then the broker was going to pay me. So yes, it was convoluted, but that's already clear. I can actually look into the history of other sales. I can see what is normal. So if 90% of the offerings are at 2.5, you can see that that's a generally competitive rate. If it's less than that, and my agreement with my buyer is more, then they're going to need to make up the difference. Now, what this changes is now I have no idea what that seller is offering unless I go and call that agent and ask them. Not only that, but I can't look back and historically find out what the market rate has been for paying that buyer agent. So it could be that they're paying 1%, but I don't know, maybe the rest of them were paying 4%. Who knows? You no longer have that data point because that field was completely removed from the MLS. So we've got a little bit of a transparency issue with that component, but we're gonna be working through it. So part of that buyer compensation is going to be included into the contract, right? So this is one of the addendums that we're using. This is a new one. We've got unrepresented buyers that are going to be wanting to go directly to listing agent, but they don't understand dual agency. Maybe that seller is not comfortable with limited agency. If it's an unrepresented buyer completely, then maybe that agent doesn't feel comfortable working with an unrepresented buyer because they might not know what they're doing, or they're going to make mistakes, and they just can't morally go through with walking someone through this process with them making mistakes that they know could harm them. So we might see some changes in the number of houses going under contract because we are finding these sticking points. So let's talk about what we do see, what we already know, like these things that I just explained. They're going to be happening in the future, and that's going to affect what we're going to see over the next 6 to 9 weeks and beyond. But for now, we finally saw the actives going down. That's good for sellers. You've got lower inventory. You got under contract that's going down. That's bad for sellers. You've got reduced demand. You've got new listings that are reducing. That's good for sellers. You've got less competition coming to market. Contract ratio is down. Not good for sellers. And then our Cromford Market Index took a real big dive below that 100 line. So usually 100 is a balanced market. We're at 96.5. We're going to see where that goes. That was a super big swing. I feel like there's probably a weird data flub in there, and we're going to figure out whether that's true or not within the next couple of weeks. So first, let's look at actives. We are down finally. It looks like it's sort of trending down, not just a dip, like a single point. As you can see, we've been climbing from 13,755 since January. And we've had a couple of times where it went a little bit down, but now it seems to have rounded out, flattened out, and now we're sort of on that downward swing. I think that's going to be a combination of fewer people coming online and putting homes on the market. It's going to be an increased number of canceled contracts when people aren't getting the price that they were hoping for. And those two components are going to be more affecting this line than our number of listings going under contract because we simply have a declining contracts, as you can see. So we've had a decline in the number of contracts. It's not super huge. It actually follows exactly what the historical trends have in the past 10 years. We are still behind every other year all the way back to 2015, holding down that all-time low record, baby. Could this change? If interest rates went super low and it surged the buyer demand, could that go up? Yeah, but this is right amidst all this other change in the way that commissions are being done and negotiated, and I think that's going to trip some people up. So the next 4 weeks they're probably going to cancel each other out, and we're just going to watch those rates and see if they come down even more to make a bigger difference. New listings are down. Like I said earlier, we just have fewer new people coming to market. That's due to a number of factors, but we'll breeze over that for now. Contract ratio is down. This is the shape that you usually see in 1 year cycle. So you start in the beginning, you have a nice spring and then summer, and then it starts to fade into fall, finally getting at the slowest level once you get to November, December, because people want to be with their families and they're spending time during the holidays. Now you can see that nice shape last year. Weird thing is this is our shape now in the first 6 months. So we have completed this shape, this parabola, before we even are making it to the end of the year. So now it's kind of anyone's guess as to how that's going to look, right? So if we have fewer and fewer listings, but we have a steady demand, that number is going to rise and it's going to go back up. If we have our demand continue to be fairly weak, but we have a surge in supply, you're going to see that number drop drastically. So this is something to watch and just to understand the general relationship. But at the moment, it's a perfect description. You see how it's just a little bit weaker than last year? It's exactly what's been happening with the market. Cromford Market Index, that's the forward-looking sort of index number that we watch. See that how big of a swing that is? That's why I think that there's an issue there. I don't know to trust that for now. I want to see that over a couple weeks and see if there was some sort of other reason, some error that caused that to happen, because you can see that it broke through that balance line. 100 is just about balanced. It's always going to be different, right? In every neighborhood, every town, every city is going to be different. But in general, across the Metro Phoenix area, it's looking like it's going toward buyer favor. So all of these red arrows means that we are getting into a weaker position for sellers. All the green means it's turning back around and getting stronger for sellers. Now, it's 3%, 1%. These numbers are very small, so it's not like it's a big page turner. But to just get a general understanding that Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, Cave Creek, Maricopa, and Buckeye, they're seeing conditions that are improving at least slightly. And if we see more green start to stack up on that list as we go month to month, that means we see a hotter market coming. We see sellers getting in a little bit better position. So I don't, none of us know what the future holds, but as of now, it looks like we are in this sort of weird territory where we're either going to be flat, we're going to decline, or we're going to turn around and start getting into a stronger seller's market. Time will tell, but at the moment, there are so many varying factors and changing factors that it's really hard to pin down exactly what the next couple of months are going to look like. So I would say, let's see, it's August. Probably by October or November, we will have seen what these changing factors have done to the market. And, by the time it's Christmas time to go be with your families, then everybody's going to be used to what just happened. And then in spring, come January, February, I guess that's winter technically, we're going to have our own, we're going to have a new year, a new start, right? So we're going to see what all these changes have done to the market in general. So until next time, just keep an eye on that. If you're looking to buy a place, then now's a great time regardless. So if you buy at 6.5% and then the interest rate shoots back up to 7.5%, well, guess what? You got a great rate. If it goes below, well, you can probably refi, once that gets closer to hitting the bottom and improve your payment. So, sellers, you're just going to have to be diligent and patient and understand that everyone's navigating sort of a new landscape in the way that we're doing contracts, and you're going to have to be open and honest with your agent and and yourself, and really just be open to learning and figuring things out as we all go. So until next time, best of luck.